Noted Brodie hates children. You're not far from the truth. Well, let's start off strong. This was sent to me yesterday. So, when Serial Experiments Lain aired after 9/11, I don't know what this video is. Someone sent it to me. Obviously, we can see the title. Let's find out. I'm back. Welcome back. I'm Dad. Let me change into the category that we want to be in. Let's go just chatting. Any issues this stream? There's been some, but basically only on the Twitch side. So I've got some ideas. Anyway, let's watch the video.
On July 31st, 2022, a YouTube user named OtakuD50 shared a short clip of...
I've actually never seen Lain, by the way. I need to do that. It's on my list.
The opening from the anime series, Serial Experiments Lain. It was recorded to tape from a live broadcast, with scrolling text on the top of the screen acknowledging the events of the terrorist attack that occurred on September 11, 2001. It didn't take long for this to go viral, with people fascinated by how surreal and profoundly strange it felt, me included. The juxtaposition of a Japanese animation overlaid with text about an American tragedy, the degraded VHS quality, and the show's somber visuals and opening track combined to create a deeply melancholic look through a window at a very specific, irreproducible moment in history. This bizarre clip had a grip on me, and I wanted to figure out how this unique convergence came about. This is the story of KTEH and the Lain episode that aired the week of 9/11. But it's
okay. This is gonna be an interesting video.
About a lot more than that. It's about
anime, 9/11, and the preservation of media. That's a combination of topics you don't often hear. Lain has a great OP. I'll take your word for it.
KTEH was a PBS station in San Jose, California that served the South Bay and later expanded to cover more of the San Francisco Bay Area. But what made it stand out was its unique programming. The head of the programming department was a woman named Karen Roberts, who negotiated with program suppliers outside the PBS system to bring shows.
I was literally just listening to the OP on my phone last night. Again, I've not seen Lain. I need to.
To the station that hadn't aired in the US before.
I'm not going to play it on stream. I can't do that.
The BBC, like Doctor Who and Red Dwarf. Others were, as you probably guessed, anime series. On Sunday, January 7th, 1996, Robotech aired on KTEH.
Robotech? What the fuck is Robotech? Wait, no, so this is an American series, but it was like made as like a joint production between America and Japan, taking elements from Macross, Super Dimension, Cavalry, Southern Cross, and Moss paid. What the fuck? Okay.
And over the following years, KTEH premiered more and more anime.
That is a very early 90s design. Like this is like the beginning of the moe trend. Sorry, I didn't think this is what this video was going to be. I didn't think I'd get sidetracked here. This is when moe was like first starting, and the art style wasn't really fully formed yet into what we know today.
This included shows like Dirty Pair Flash, Sakura Wars, and even Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Hey!
Yeah, that's right. Evangelion premiered in the United States on a PBS station.
Only on the Silicon Valley's home for Japanese anime, KTEH.
Viewers were frequently encouraged to donate in order to keep this kind of content running, because licensing it was no easy feat, which resulted in pledge drives like these.
We need your help your pledge of membership support this evening in order to continue obtaining and broadcasting for you these phenomenal series that we're bringing you every Sunday science fiction night.
So this is just like someone's side project, and the studios, or the company's just like, yeah, we actually don't want to do this, but like, someone wanted to, so pay us for it and we keep doing it.
Without fail, we really do.
The man speaking there is Tom Fenella, who launched their pledge drives in the first place and was largely responsible for putting KTEH on the map.
Mm-hmm.
Otaku D50, who uploaded the Lain clip.
Look at the jiggle.
KTEH on the map.
Jesus Christ.
Otaku D50, who uploaded the Lain clip, started recording the anime broadcasts on VHS since they first aired Dirty Pair Flash in late 2000, when he was a teenager. Serial Experiments Lain premiered on KTEH
hand-drawn
on Sunday,
jiggle.
August 12th, 2001.
No, not just hand-drawn jiggle. We need to be clear about this. Painted. These were painted on cells. Frame by frame. Painted cells. Very important dedication to the jiggle.
Serial Experiments Lain is a weird show, which makes it airing on a PBS station ever the more perplexing. The show follows a young girl named Lain as she becomes intertwined with the Wired, which is basically the internet of that world.
Right.
It was the late 90s, and the blurring lines between reality and the digital world was a major point of conversation. Lain was a very atmospheric...
And now it's 2025, and you're sitting here watching a guy watching a video on a live stream. And you've probably been doing so... You've probably been doing so for the past 4 hours, and when you leave this stream, you'll be on the internet probably for another 6 hours. Welcome to the future.
...atmospheric and psychological show. A far cry from the kind of animated program you'd expect to air on PBS.
Lain, one of the most interesting, most highly stylized anime series we have yet been able to bring you.
This fucking shot is so... Like, why did you choose the ending here? You were like... whatever.
Been in search of this series for 2 years. We have been trying and trying and trying to convince the distributor to let us...
Then, a month later, the Twin Towers in New York City were targeted in the most infamous terrorist attack in United States history.
I'm staring at a computer in my hand, watching a guy watching a video on his computer. Exactly.
Media in the aftermath of 9/11 reflects the atmosphere of uncertainty that overtook the public consciousness in America.
Yeah, there's an edit of Lilo and Stitch. The original version of Lilo and Stitch actually had a scene where they were flying in between towers. It wasn't the Twin Towers, but there was a scene that was going to be in Lilo and Stitch. They ended up redrawing for the production, like for the actual I think it was for the DVD release maybe. I think the cinema release had it, and then DVD release or VHS release, they had ended up like redrawing that segment.
Okay. No one really knew how to act or what to say. What was the appropriate course of action after such a catastrophe?
We are back. This is our first show since the tragedy in New York City, and
a couple years back, I read a book about the history of The Daily Show with Jon Stewart, and there's a whole section dedicated to how they handled the first show back after 9/11. Steve Carell, who was one of the correspondents at the time, said, "I remember Stephen Colbert and I sitting with John those days after trying to figure out what to do, what to write, and how to even put on any show. It all just seemed so irrelevant and small. It was a strange and confusing time for people who felt powerless, just trying to do the right thing. And if you were on air, that feeling was amplified."
SmackDown is sports entertainment, but the evil...
The fucking WWE made it. The WWE. Were they? Yeah, they were the WWE by then, weren't they? Or was it still WWF? I don't know my wrestling history super well. I don't know when the name change happened. Renamed to WWE in two. Okay, so it's still WWF.
Behind Tuesday morning's terrorist attacks is real.
Yeah, it also got pretty weird. KTH's travel auction was originally supposed to air the Sunday after 9/11, but due to the attack, it was delayed and replaced with an anime block of Evangelion, Sakura Wars.
I'm sorry. What was this?
Yeah, it also got pretty weird. KTH's travel auction was originally supposed to air the Sunday after 9/11, but due to the attack, it was delayed and replaced with an anime block of Evangelion, Sakura Wars, and Serial Experiments Lain.
Well, I guess it makes sense if it's a travel auction, you're gonna kind of delay that. But imagine your choice of replacement is Sakura Wars, Ava, and Lain. It's a good lineup, I'll give you that. But it's like, I haven't seen Sakura Wars. I have seen the other ones. What year did that actually originally come out? Sakura Wars isn't super great, but like it exists and you can watch it. Couldn't have been Doraemon. Does that have a Twin Towers moment in it? I don't actually know.
In retrospect, it's a very strange decision. Lain is a pretty depressing commentary on how the state of the world is changing and becoming unavoidably interconnected. But its airing here was just the result of filling the vacant spot with something they had available. In this case, what was planned to air the following Sunday. KTH doesn't exist anymore. It was acquired by KQED, and Karen Roberts, the head of programming, passed away in 2006. Tom Fenella passed away a year later.
Aww.
It wasn't until late 2020 when Otaku D50 uploaded a clip of one of the pledge drives from KTH's broadcast of Sakura Wars on the recommendation.
Wait, is that the I'm not sure. I assume that's like a VHS of Sakura Wars. Surely that wouldn't be like Sakura Wars manga. Surely not.
Of a friend who thought people may find it interesting. Kenny Lauderdale, a content creator who covers older and oftentimes obscure...
Oh my god, it's fucking this guy. This fucking guy shows up in my Twitter recommendations constantly. He's just constantly glazing, like, 60s to 80s anime.
Your anime, watched it on stream, and asked Otaku if he had any more recordings like it. When Otaku went back to recover the Lain donation pledges, the scrolling text caught his attention. But at first, he didn't realize the connection to 9/11. After all, 9/11 wasn't referred to as 9/11 immediately after it happened, so the broadcast only referred to an American tragedy. Only by figuring out the air dates did Otaku manage to piece it together. He didn't realize that this whole time, he'd been sitting on a lost media gem. This sort of thing is not uncommon. Just last year, a VHS recording of a SpongeBob SquarePants Got Milk commercial that was previously considered lost media was found and uploaded by the Toon archivist. It also aired in 2001, and there were no traces of it anywhere, aside from people's memories. And I know for a lot of people, 2001 doesn't seem like that long ago, so talking about it like...
How old is your general audience if 2001's not that long ago, man? Like... I was 3 in 2001. I don't remember anything that happened. That was a long time ago. When was this video uploaded? A year ago. It's not like this was uploaded like 10 years ago. Yeah, 2001's a long time ago, guys. That's like 24 years ago.
Uncovering history sounds weird, but it really was a different time in a lot of ways. There was internet.
2001 is just 9 years ago, right? Yeah, exactly.
Didn't upload their own advertisements like they do now. And why would a PBS station bother to archive a Lain episode with scrolling text that was always meant to be temporary? The only way these sorts of things would survive was if someone at home just so happened to record it on their VCR at the time of airing. Combine that with the fact that VHS tapes degrade over the years, especially if they're not stored in an ideal environment, and the odds of some of this media making it out is slim. But that's also what makes it all so fascinating. It's history preserved by ordinary people, most of whom didn't think what they recorded would be significant. They recorded it because they liked it, or they just wanted to rewatch what was broadcast.
Right.
And with websites like the Internet Archive, some of these ephemeral moments in media can now be accessed at any time, by anyone. There are
the Wayback Machine, the Internet Archive, there's a lot of trouble going on with that right now. If you are able to support them, I would really recommend you do so. Like, it's an incredibly useful resource. There are other web archives that exist, but nothing to the scale of the Internet Archive. The Internet Archive is... Like, honestly, the Internet Archive should be like a worldwide government-funded project. The fact that it's not is insane.
a lot of parts to this story that felt weirdly tailored to my interests. I got into Serial Experiments Lain a couple years back, as it's been going through somewhat of a recent resurgence in popularity lately. I've always found myself drawn to lost or
It's not because governments have things to hide, this is true.
Late 90s and early 2000s. I even worked at a PBS station in the Bay Area for a bit.
That's cool.
And I'm really fascinated by media.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about with, Right, okay, no, yeah. I think this plane ended up, like, flying between buildings as well. Yeah.
Of September 11th.
Yeah. So originally it was flying between buildings. They changed it to, like, an alien plane flying, between mountains. Because this was, like, you couldn't air this, like, that close to 9/11.
In 2000. While I can read or review the history, the exact feeling is something I'll never be able to fully understand, since I didn't really live through it. I get that the Lain tape may seem mundane. I realize it's not the most interesting documented acknowledgement of 9/11. It's far from it. It's scrolling text on a television station on the other side of the country, airing a program from the other side of the world. In a way, it feels disconnected. Maybe that's why it's so compelling. It may seem inconsequential because it's the quiet reaction that usually gets forgotten with time. Like Lain in the opening, as she pauses to notice the world around her change, and then continues on her way. Despite the tense uncertainty, life goes on.
You know what? That was actually a lot better a video than I thought it would be. I didn't know what that was going to be, but that's actually a really good video. Thank you for sending that my way. I very much appreciate that. I don't remember who sent it to me. Who was that? Soviet Yoshi on the Discord. I don't know what their Twitch name was, but that's a what a name. Okay. What else could we have a look at? I have a video about the psychology behind the bag of milk game. How long is it? Send me a link. Too long for reacting, a bit slow. Okay, fair enough.